Hi, welcome back to Educator.com. This is the lesson on energy. Keep in mind that this is an overview of energy, the types of energy we consume, how efficient those energy sources are. Future lessons in this course will get into fossil fuels, like specific forms of energy use, alternative energy, etc. So this is just a basic overview. So first, some past struggles with energy in terms of it being sustainable in the long run for a civilization. When we look at ancient Greece, as their empire grew, as they kept building more and more, and using more and more firewood, shortages of firewood ended up happening. So they began imports from outside of Greece. So their demand kept rising for firewood. Eventually, there were so many olive trees being cut down that they banned the use of olive wood in Athens, actually. The city of Athens. Whoops. And yeah, that kind of started around the 4th century BC. So right there is a sign that they knew that the amount of cutting down of these olive trees was unacceptable. And they ended up changing how they built houses. So they started transitioning into kind of a more sustainable, cheaper, common sense practices into maximizing, what temperature is doing for you. So they changed how they built houses in the sense that you can find ways to take advantage of where the sun is in the sky during various times of the year, during the various seasons. So they could have it set up where during the summer months, you could have trees that provide shade so the sun isn't beating down on your house. And perhaps during the winter months, when the sun is at a slightly different place in the sky, it is actually beaming right at the house and providing warmth in the winter. By the way, this is a rolling pin made out of olive wood, in case you were curious. So ancient Greece had their own struggles with energy in terms of the amounts available to them. And then ancient Rome, a bit later in terms of their heyday, wood supplies were exhausted quickly. And compared to ancient Greece, Rome expanded much, much further. So they were actually cutting down a lot of trees up and through their golden age. Eventually, they started taking advantage of solar energy. So once again, transitioning gradually into kind of a more sustainable practice in the long run. They took advantage of solar energy in a passive sense, meaning letting the sun, heat your building in various ways, or help you cool down. So glass windows were a part of it. Glass windows actually helped keep houses in an appropriate temperature range. They actually took advantage of greenhouses. Even back then, and house modifications and laws. They actually had laws where you couldn't build, in certain parts of the Roman Empire, you couldn't build a building that would actually block sun from hitting your neighbor. So that was illegal for a while. So that's an interesting kind of civic application of this. And modifications to houses in terms of how they built them, how they insulated them, actually helped in terms of not cutting down as many trees to provide warmth. And actually, in some of the more rich estates in the Roman Empire during their golden age, you had houses that were so big, the amount of wood that we've estimated that they would have needed to sustain a certain temperature is over 200 pounds a day when it was, cooler, which is amazing in terms of the amount of demand that just one estate has for lumber or timber.